Welcome, everyone, and good morning. Well, I think I know most of the people here. There were probably a few that maybe were in high school when I retired back in 2012. So, my name is Joe Marsh. I was the men's hockey coach, probably started somewhere around the Truman administration. And I'm here to formally introduce Brent Brekke, our new men's coach. I am most honored to do so. As most of you know, this isn't exactly his first introduction. I think this might be about his sixth or seventh official introduction, but it's certainly an honor to stand here and welcome him to the St. Lawrence community. It's a great opportunity, I think, for many of you to meet him for the first time. And before I begin, I want to thank all of those who worked so hard to ensure this process was really carefully thought out and thorough. And in its conclusion, certainly that the best candidate would emerge, and believe me, that is the case. It's a lot like the recruitment of players, I think. It's all about getting the right guy. And as I said, we definitely did that. Congrats and thanks to Bill Fox, our president, AD Bob Durocher, who withstood the fury throughout the process, Vice President for Advancement Tom Pinchon, Hockey Board co-chairs Scott Lasky and Tommy O'Connor, and a special thanks to Randy Sexton and Ray Sherrill, prominent alums and great hockey guys. Randy is the assistant general manager of the Buffalo Sabres, and of course Ray now GM of the New Jersey Devils. And speaking of those guys, you know, people were saying a few questions popped up along the way. It was like, you know, they're not really college guys anymore; they're pro guys. But you know, when you think about it, they manage not so much the hockey business, but the people in the hockey business, and that certainly was evident throughout the whole process and the search, and they did a great job. The other questions that kept popping up through this was two in particular. How come it took so long? Yeah, I mean, while it wasn't exactly the siege of Leningrad, it was somewhat protracted. And I think the reason for that was that we wanted to be certain that it was thorough, and it was that. The other question that people have asked was, how come Brent hasn't been a head coach before? You know, he's been in the game for a long time, and I will tell you, you know, my answer to that might be he might have a different explanation, but he was a head coach. He was an associate head coach with all the responsibilities that implies. And you know, the other thing is, you know, he wasn't exactly coaching at the Chelsea School of Upholstery. I mean, he was 9 years at Cornell, 10 years at Miami, and this past season at Clarkson. At those three institutions, which are outstanding hockey programs, he won championships and was part of championships in all of those, with all of those teams. Went to NCAA tournaments almost habitually and played and coached in 3 Frozen Fours. His resume is outstanding. And I think really what this says, in a 20-year career as an assistant, he was also recognized in the American Hockey Coaches Association as a recipient of the Assistant Coach of the Year, the Terry Flanagan Award for the Assistant Coach of the Year. And I think it's an indication of what type of coach he is. You know, when you look at what he did, he was the guy that dug in. You know, he did the body of work. He got to a place, established relationship with the players, which is certainly paramount in coaching in college. And he established relationships within the community. I think that was a big selling point, certainly for us here. He immersed himself at the task at hand. It wasn't a situation where, you know, in some cases guys are showing up, hey, I've done my 2 years, where's my head job? You know, he wasn't that guy. He did the body of work, and it shows. finally on a more personal note, I had the opportunity to spend a year at Dartmouth as the women's coach 2 hockey seasons ago, and I had the honor of coaching Stacy and Brent's youngest, their daughter, Bailey. Now, she is going to be a senior next year, so I had her sophomore year, and I will tell you, without a doubt, that was another strong selling point. The fact that parents like this have raised that kid, who is absolutely one of the best, most genuine, wonderful kids I've ever coached in my life. Obviously, they know what they're doing as parents. And we can't kid ourselves. Part of coaching in college, a very big part of it, is parenting as well. It's not just about W's and L's. It's all about the relationship that they forge. So I have ultimate confidence that he is going to be the guy, and I feel that he fits exactly who we are, fits the need we have, and really exemplifies what our program is about. We talked quite a bit about it. We're a bit of a mid-market, smaller market team. We're not going to get into an arms race with North Dakota or Minnesota so much as, we got to be really, really good at being St. Lawrence. And I think that we'll start to see that. Now, a lot has been written about where we are in the standings and all that sort of thing, but, maybe we're not going to go from 59th to 9th, but I guarantee we will start to climb back up again. And that process is really what we have to be most concerned with. And I know that Brent, certainly indicated by the body of work he's done so far, is very much a process-oriented guy. So we got the right guy in place. I won't go on too much further. I do want to recognize a guy that just showed up unannounced, but the commissioner of the ECAC, Steve Hagwell. Where are you, Steve? There he is, right up there front. Steve drove up for this, so it's also a nice tip of the hat to Brent that he would make this trip today, and we really appreciate him being here. And finally, I'd like to bring up our president, Bill Fox. I know he's running around here quick today. He's got a few things going, a few irons in the fire here on Alumni Weekend, so I won't go on any further. Bill, thank you so much.
Stacy, Brent, welcome to this wonderful community of learning and experience. I know you'll never regret joining the St. Lawrence community. Lynn and I have been part of it for 10 years, and it's been the best chapter of our lives by far. I'm the guy that's, sort of the interlude before the power play. I just took the cheap, hooking penalty, so it's just 2 minutes and I'm up here. And what I wanted to say is to continue Joe's sense of gratitude for the great support in the search team that put together this moment. Randy and Ray, Bob and Tom, thank you so much. Worked tirelessly into the night over many, many weeks to get this right. I've often said about St. Lawrence searches, don't get it fast, get it right. And my part in a search when we have a head coach candidate is to meet with every single candidate. And I put one question to Brent, and we don't have to talk X's and O's, that's not my part of the process. But I said, what do you admire about this generation of students? And without hesitation, he said, they ask why, and they have ambition. And I thought, it wasn't just a question about today's hockey players, it's today's students, because that's the St. Lawrence way. This is the whole package. And I knew right away we had the guy that gets it. This generation of students is not the way some of you may have approached your college careers, and it's really important that we connect at the deepest level with students and their families to get it right. Over the years I've followed St. Lawrence hockey. Our coaches have not just been vivid presence in Appleton Arena. They are known on campus. They've been teachers on campus, not just in the hockey program, but all across the campus. Our students know our coaches. I'm very confident Brent's going to be that kind of leader on campus, just as George Bernard used to teach economics, and Bernie McKinnon. I can actually say I'm one of Bernie's former students. He taught racket sports when we had a phys ed requirement here. I barely passed, good thing, because I might have been here another year to get my qualifications in. And of course, Joe taught in the first year program for many years. And that's the St. Lawrence way. And that was my test, and Brent put it right in the net. So let me, get back on the ice. I've served my time in the box, and want you to know a little bit more about the process and the program from our athletic director. We're so lucky to have the leadership of this man, Bob Durocher.
Thank you, President Fox. I appreciate that. And thank you all for being here this morning. It's truly a pleasure of mine to be here to talk a little bit more about Brent. Joe gave some details. I'm going to dig into those a little deeper, but I would be remiss if I too didn't mention the assistance that I had from Joe, from Ray, Randy, and from Tom. We did spend numerous hours, as you've heard, and we do have the right man. So those guys, their expertise, their assistance, their dedication to what we did to get this outcome is truly appreciated. I spoke to and heard from hundreds of people, as you can imagine, during this process. And Brent stood out among all of them because of his dedication, his expertise, his knowledge of the game, and most importantly, the relationships that he built over a 20-year career. When you receive emails from players that played for him at Cornell University and say, wow, what a guy you got. I've heard that from Casey Jones, the current head coach, and I'll share this with you. I'm not sure that maybe he wanted to go public with this, but I do have to share it. He said, Bob, you got a great coach, but you have a better person. Over the next few years, we're still going to take it to you guys. But after that, it's going to be very interesting. So I thought that was a good affirmation. If you didn't know, Brent had a 4-year career as a defenseman at Western Michigan University, and he was coached by our own Bill Wilkinson. So, we're starting to make those connections early on. He had a brief career in the pros before he started his coaching career. He began in the North American Hockey League as an assistant coach and also as a director of player personnel. From there, as you heard Joe mention, he was at Cornell for the next 9 years. He went to 4 NCAA tournaments with Cornell. They won 2 ECAC championships, and he also led them to a Frozen Four. The next decade, as you heard, he was at Miami University in Ohio, where he went to back-to-back Frozen Fours with them. He led them to 6 NCAA tournaments, 2 regular season conference tournaments, and 2 conference playoff championship tournaments. From there, I'll say this quietly, he spent his last year at Clarkson University, but he did help lead them to a 26-11-2 record. One of those 11 losses, I have to say, was from St. Lawrence. So happy to have him on this side of that. But he also, because of that, they won the ECAC championship, and obviously that earned them postseason play in the NCAAs. In the short period of time that I've got to know Brent, I can tell you that he's the man of highest integrity and character. He's demonstrated a proven track record of success in Division I throughout his 20-year career. And as I mentioned earlier, it's been incredible to hear all week long, phone messages, emails, text messages, on how great a hire we've made. Brent will fit really well into our culture, and I'm really excited about our future with him leading the way. And I must say, I'm reminded daily by my wife, behind every great coach is a supportive spouse. I'd like to introduce to you now our next Charles W. Appleton II, men's hockey coach, Brent Brekke, and his wife Stacy.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Before I forget right away, I want to make sure I thank Steve Hagwell. Obviously, it's pretty special to have you be a part of this and come up and have a nice surprise as well. And I've known Steve for a long time when he started as the commissioner of the league, so it's been a long time and a great relationship and a great friendship. So thank you for making the point of coming up. I appreciate that. To start with, again, I think family, as you're going to hear as I talk, family is important to me. My wife has been a part of this, along with our children, for a long, long time. It's been a roller coaster. We've had a lot more positive than negative. That's the benefit, I guess, of the career that I've had, so I'm fortunate with that. But Stacy, you'll see a lot. She's going to be very involved, and she's an engaging personality. She's a great person. Obviously, our daughter Bailey, as Joe talked about, pretty special as well. She's going to go and finish up with her college career and graduate next year at Dartmouth, so we're pretty excited about that. And our son is 17. He'll be a senior, and he's actually, I'm going to pick him up tomorrow. He's going to be back. He's been living in Columbus, Ohio, playing hockey there this past season, so it'll be nice to have him back as a part of the family in the house here for the summer. So Stacey is extremely excited about that, as am I. So, but thank you for the roller coaster ride to be a part of this, so I love you. President Fox, Mr. Durocher, I can't say enough as far as the opportunity you're giving me, obviously the belief in me, and just the relationships that we've built in a short amount of time are very special. When you have people that are in that position that are the example, leading the university and leading the athletic department, it's easy to follow that. And I think that's something I've always tried to pride myself on, as the example that I am. So to be working alongside, President Fox and Bob Durocher is pretty exciting, and that gives us an opportunity to be successful just from the start because of those two. So thank you very much. Thank you to Ray Sherrill, Randy Sexton. Those guys are extremely encouraging, supportive, lots of information that they've passed along through the process, lots of dialogue, and they're obviously prominent alums, passionate alums, extremely supportive, and those guys were great to me through the process, and I look forward to the friendships that we build, hopefully lifelong moving forward. Tom Penchon, I saw Tom here briefly. Where's Tom at? Tom, looking forward to the partnership, you and I working together, again, to continue to build the support and the connections with the alumni, but you do a great job, and it's been great to get to know you here in a short time as well, so thank you. It is a great honor. This position to me is special. It means a lot, and the reason being is Joe Marsh. To be a part of something that's special and to be, I guess, a guy that's coming down the pipeline, to be a part of that fraternity, of the Saints coaching fraternity, of what he's built and the success that he's had. And when I say success, I want you to keep things in mind. I'm not just hockey driven. I understand that the student athlete portion and being a good person, and we're going to talk about that. But you can see the impact he's had on people's lives. And not just the players, the community, the faculty, the alumni. Joe, you're a special man, very special man, so thank you. So I just obviously hope to continue the legacy that you've built and continue to carry that on, so thank you very much. About our program is going to be based on family. I'm a true believer in family. We're going to build our family through relationships and trust, and that's something I've always tried to strive to be, a person that is a great example. But the stronger our relationships, the better our trust is going to be amongst our players, amongst our staff. And when you have great relationships and you have great trust, it allows for a high level of accountability. And that's something, when the players know you have their back and you're going to go to the end of the world for them, they'll do special things. Because if you don't have those relationships and they don't have that trust factor amongst themselves or with your staff, when it's the hard days and there's lots of adversity, because there's going to be adversity, and you don't have that trust, you're not going to accomplish great things. So for me, that's always been something that's very important. We'll build those relationships. We'll have great trust amongst one another, not just within that locker room with our players, but with our staff and throughout, and obviously through the community, through the campus community. Those things are important to us. And that's the type of championship culture that we want to create here. And again, it's not just about the wins and losses. It's not just about the championships. If we do things the right way, and we will, we'll have the success. You'll get the banners. Those things will happen. But the other part that comes with that is the important piece where we're teaching life skills. Joe said it a long time ago. He was something that always stuck with me. He said, coaches are teachers. And ultimately, that's an important part to keep in mind and keep in perspective. As a coach, you're not just wins and losses driven. You're trying to create life skills. You're creating leaders for tomorrow. So you are teachers. And that's something that's always been something I think I've tried to keep at the forefront of my mind. The things we're going to strive for as a program is greatness. We want to be great in everything we do, not just on the ice. We want to be great in the classroom. We want to be great in the community. We want to be great on the campus as far as our engagement. Those are things that we're going to demand of our guys, demand of our staff, and we're going to be in this together. I've always found we're not striving for perfection. I think that's unrealistic. You're never going to have anything that's perfect. And if you want to be great, you've got to face adversity. You've got to find what the pitfalls are. You have to find what your weaknesses are. And through those things, that's where you create greatness, and that's where you have sustainability when you get to that level of greatness. And that's what we're going to strive for. We won't be that every day. We'll still continue to strive to be great every day. But in that, and striving for that, we will be good. And as you create those habits of daily getting better and better and better, you'll be successful. And those are things that we're going to instill in our guys. And we want a championship culture, but at the end of the day, the biggest part is those guys walking across that stage to get their degree. That's the most important thing. And I've coached a lot of guys, and I've never had any regrets for kids that have come through and their hockey playing wasn't necessarily what we hoped it would have been. Everybody wants to play in the National Hockey League. Those kids are driven that way. I don't want to take that dream away. I want to try to enhance that and help them get to that level. But the reality is, when they leave with a diploma, with one of the best educations available, coming out of St. Lawrence, they're set up for life. That's the important piece of this. But with that, they still have the opportunity to do great things in hockey. But they know they have that to fall back on, that education that's going to set them up for life, the network that they're going to have through the alumni base. All those things are pretty special. So those are the things we're going to strive for. It'll be a great run. It'll be a great ride. We're looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm excited and looking forward to working with Scott Lasky, Tom O'Connor, and the Hockey Alumni Association. Those guys have been tremendous, to start here, so we're looking forward to that with the support. The momentum and where the place is a program with Appleton being renovated, the resources we have, the support we have from the alumni, especially when you look at the things that are taking place this weekend, it's a special, special place. We are in a great place. Momentum is taking us forward right now. Having the conversations with the returning players, our recruits that are coming in, there's a ton of excitement. And the big part for me right now is getting our staff in place, and we hit the ground running, and we will have success. And we'll do things the right way, and we're excited to be a part of this. So I do want to thank you very much, because I know there's obviously lots going on this weekend, but to be a part of this morning, to make sure you guys came here to sit through this, I really appreciate that. And thank you to all the people that have come up and said hi. I apologize. I'm trying to remember names as much as possible. Love the name tags right now. I think that's a great thing. So thank you very much. We're excited. Lots of work to do. And go Saints.